I was 20 years old when this all happened. It wasn't that long ago. I'm 22 now. I used to nanny for a wealthy family on the weekends while I was a college student, in addition to working as a babysitter during the week. I would spend the weekend at the house with the kids while their parents would frequently go away. It was lovely while it lasted because I had a whole guest bedroom to myself, and the family was really kind. It was autumn, the leaves were falling heavily, the weather was cool. On Friday I had arrived at the house. Everything went perfectly on Friday night. I just spent some time playing with the two children, James and Jessica. James was 7 years old, Jessica, 5 years old. They were both well-mannered and adorable. James went to bed at 8:30 and Jessica at 7:30. I play with each of them and their toys during the day. The toys in the family were kept in 2 rooms, one for Jess and one for James. Jessica cherished her playhouses and dolls. I played with her for a long time. James is a huge video game player. I would love to watch him play. The house was stunning, and these kids truly had it all. There was a large pond in the centre of the enormous property. It featured a pool with a pool house across the pond that included a bar and rec room, pool table and darts, arcade games, a huge TV, and numerous couches in addition to a separate 3-car garage. His family was so frequently extravagant that they even installed an intercom between the pool house and the main house. You could speak over it by pressing a button on the wall in either location, and it would ring. There was a huge window in the pool house with a view of the home and a pond. I could do whatever I wanted for the rest of the night when the kids went to bed. It was excellent, but I wasn't meant to be inviting friends around. Now I followed the rule and would use the time to FaceTime my friends and watch movies in the pool house. I'll tell you what, it's not a bad location to kill time. I walked back across the property to the house, entered the code to let myself in, and headed to the kitchen because I was starting to get hungry. They let me help myself to a huge assortment of snacks and food. I take the snack out of the freezer and pop it into the microwave. After finishing, I made my way back to the pool house by crossing the grounds. Because I could talk on the phone louder and turn up the TV without disturbing the kids, I preferred to hang out in there more. I was texting a number of my buddies while eating and watching the movie White Chicks on the couch. I was just finishing up a conversation with my pals about what an amazing gig this was. The intercom rang. It gave me a heart attack. I heard Jessica on the other end say she's terrified because she keeps hearing noises as I went to click the answer button. She would normally sleep through the night, so I would have to go put her back to sleep. After putting down my food, I dashed back across the yard to the house, passed through the code-locked door once more, and proceeded to Jess's room. She must have run straight back to her bed when we got off the intercom, since she was already there, all scared. All I want to do is tickle and cuddle her till her fear subsides. Satisfied that she had calmed down, I exited her room, closed the door, and strolled back down the hallway to the kitchen to retrieve a glass of wine. I heard the ever-so-mild creaking sound of a wood floor from another room while I was searching for a wine opener. I froze, looking that way reflexively, waiting for another sound. I didn't want to start worrying over nothing. I didn't want Jessica to start telling me that she was hearing things, believing it to be the normal sound of a house settling. Admittedly, I was becoming a little frightened by now, but I had to go back because I had left the lights and TV on in the pool house. After going outside and using the code to lock the entrance, I hurried over to the pool house. I took a seat on the couch again and finished the rest of my meal. I decided not to bring the wine after all. Though I was primarily just getting sidetracked on my phone, I still had White Chicks on. The intercom blew up again, and I jolted in my seat. When I did, I answered it quickly. It was quiet at the other end. "Jessica," I stated. All I could hear was someone breathing and at least 3 times saying the names of James and Jessica. I was really beginning to feel afraid now. Gave my friend Kelsey a call. I told her that I really was feeling worried and that I wanted her to come here. I mentioned that the young child I'm watching mentioned hearing noises, and that after I heard a noise, someone touched the intercom button without saying anything. It didn't seem like something any of the children would do. I'm still talking to Kelsey on the phone, and she's asking me not to be paranoid, but she seems drunk anyway. Throughout the entire phone conversation with her, my gaze was fixed on the house through the window. The lights in the hallway are on. I told Kelsey this, and that's when a big figure stepped into frame at one of the hallway windows. Any chance that it was one of the kids had gone. I yelled and let go of the phone as I turned to face a grown man who appeared to be looking at me and turning to face me in return. I realised that the intercom had been running the entire time. I picked up my phone, hung up on Kelsey and dialed 911, while sobbing and yelling into the intercom that I was doing so at that precise moment. Basically, it was yelling into the intercom everything I said to the police. Back at the window he went. He was no longer at the house window. I was sobbing uncontrollably and pleading with the 911 operator to act quickly. She asked me a million questions and kept telling me to calm down. I was shouting the address into the phone, pleading with her to hurry up. "Are the kids safe?" she inquired. "No," I cried out. "They're still with the man in the house." That's when Jessica's scream came over the intercom. The 911 operator was attempting to talk to me when I finally lost it and started crying on my knees. I said, "I don't know what to do." "You must wait, the police are almost there." She inquired whether I saw if the man had any weapons. I was unable to tell. But then I heard my name being called over the intercom by Jessica. "Yes, I'm here. Get your brother and leave the house," I said as I walked over. She said there was a man in here while sobbing. "Yes, I understand. Please get your brother to come outdoors immediately." Heading over there to get the kids was the most daring thing I have ever done. I had to run outdoors, cross the yard to the house and meet the two children at the door. With the lights off, we went back across the yard to the pool house, and I took hold of both of them. They were both crying, and although I wanted to cry too, I had to force myself to hold it together, remain talking to 911 on the phone. In fact, she had informed me that the cops would meet us at the pool house as they were already here. The words were the most comforting ones I had ever heard. The children followed the police's flashlights through the windows to the door, where we were met by 2 police officers. The children accompanied the female officer to one vehicle. I went to another car with another police officer. 3 police cars had already pulled up in front of the house, and more were still arriving. I was responding to every question the police asked. They eventually found him. He pulled out a man who appeared to be around 6 feet tall. He was taken outside while handcuffed and placed in the rear of a vehicle. His face as he gazed at me is still quite clear to me. He had an incestuous appearance. His face was contorted. The incident was promptly communicated to Jessica and James's parents over the phone. None of us were going to stay there that evening. The children's aunt arrived to pick them up. I slept very little that night. The adrenaline was pumping. It makes sense that the parents never left their children unaccompanied for a long while after that evening. I am aware that they pursued all possible charges. I didn't stay there again. How mentally terrified those children must have been is beyond me.